Welcome, my dear students, to my class. We are doing the chapter first civics, that is power sharing. In previous class, we have discussed about the story of Belgium. In today's class, we are going to discuss the story of Sri Lanka. So, Sri Lanka is a island country. You know now what is the meaning of island? Island means any area smaller than continent and entirely surrounded by water. Sri Lanka is located to the south of India, and this island nation has a diverse population of 2 crore people, like almost about our Haryana. So both the countries, just like the Belgium and Sri Lanka, are compared with Haryana. In Sri Lanka, the major social groups are the Sinhala speakers, they are 74%, and the Tamil speakers, they are 18%. Again, these Tamil speakers are divided into two groups: Sri Lankan Tamil, they are 13%. So Tamil natives of the country are called as the Sri Lankan Tamils, and Indian Tamils, they are 5% only and came from India during the colonial period as plantation workers. Sinhala speaker people are mainly Buddhist, while the Tamil speaking people were either Hindus or Muslims. So apart from the Sinhala speaker and the Tamil speaker, there was even 7% Christians who are both Tamil and Sinhala. श्रीलंका का एथनिक कंपोजिशन था कि सिन्हाला बोलने वाले लोग थे 74% एंड तमिल बोलने वाले लोग थे 18%. तमिल स्पीकर्स अगेन डिवाइडेड इनटू टू ग्रुप्स, जो थे श्रीलंकन तमिल, जो वहाँ के नेटिव थे, मतलब इनबॉर्न वहीं रहते थे, उसको हम लोग बोल सकेंगे श्रीलंकन तमिल्स. और थे इंडियन तमिल्स जो माइग्रेट करके गए थे फ्रॉम इंडिया टू श्रीलंका कॉलोनियल पीरियड पे एज ए प्लांटेशन वर्कर्स. ओके और सिन्हाला जो स्पीकर जो पीपल थे वो उसका जो रिलीजन था वो था बुद्धिज़्म. ओके वो बुद्धिज़्म को फॉलो करते थे. और तमिल बोलने वाले जो लोग थे वो थे या हिंदू थे या मुस्लिम थे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम ऑल दिस ग्रुप और एक ग्रुप था वो था क्रिश्चियंस. वो बोलने तमिल भी बोलते थे और सिन्हाला भी बोलते थे. इसका परसेंटेज था 7%. In Sri Lanka, the democratically elected government opted for a series of majoritarian policy measures because they desired Sinhala supremacy. Some of the measures taken were: an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as the only official language, thus disregarding Tamil. तो Sinhala था official language श्रीलंका का on that time. The governments followed preferential policies for Sinhala applicant. तो जॉब पे बोलो या एजुकेशन जो सेक्टर था उस पर भी बोलो कि जो सिन्हाला बोलने वाले कैंडिडेट थे उसको प्रेफर किया जाता था. ओके दिस मेड द श्रीलंकन तमिल फील्स अलाइनेटेड. अलाइनेटमेंट आइसोलेट बोल सकते हो. ओके और सेट अपार्ट बोल सकते हो कि अलग फील करने लगे थे. As a result of this, the Sri Lankan Tamils launched parties and began struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language. By the 1980s, several political organizations were formed. Favoritism towards the Sinhalese as well as adoption of majoritarian policies engulfed Sri Lanka into a civil war. We know that what is the meaning of civil war? A violent conflict between opposing groups within a country that becomes so intense that it appears like a war. The Tamil also demanded for a separate realm of their own, thus creating a wave of heightened insecurity and inequality in the country. The civil war caused a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the country. So ये civil war का consequences क्या था? The distrust between two communities turned into widespread conflicts. Tamil militant groups were formed, for example LTTE, Liberation Tigers of Tamilism. This was followed by civil war. This conflict caused loss of lives, properties. It created hindrance in development of Sri Lanka. Many families were forced to leave the country as refugees and many more lost their livelihoods. This civil war is still going on till 2009. वॉर का इम्पैक्ट ऑलवेज नेगेटिव ही होता है. या आप सिविल वॉर बोलो, कोल्ड वॉर बोलो, कॉलोनियल वॉर बोलो या इन्वेशन बोलो, वॉर फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस बोलो, तो सब वॉर का नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट ही होता है. तो श्रीलंका में भी देखा जाता था कि डेवलपमेंट जो था वो रुक गया था. लॉस ऑफ लाइव्स प्रॉपर्टीज इसका भी डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ था। अब मेनी मोर लॉस देयर लाइवलीहुड्स, प्रोफेशन जो जॉब था वो छिन गया था। रिफ्यूजी का बहुत ही बड़ा एक मैटर था ऑन दैट टाइम इन श्रीलंका। तो जो आउटकम था श्रीलंका पे सिविल वॉर का वो था बहुत ही नेगेटिव। Now we are going to compare two case studies, power sharing in Belgium, power sharing in Sri Lanka. The government gave importance to regional differences and cultural diversities in Belgium. The elected government adopted majoritarian measures and established Sinhala supremacy in Sri Lanka. Each community gave equal powers, thus no single community could make decisions alone in Belgium. The government mainly supported Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. They adopted such measures where everyone was given equal opportunity in Belgium. Due to the biased behavior of the government, other groups felt alienated, resulting in civil war in Sri Lanka. The capital city Brussels has different government and communities have equal representations. Means two types of government we can see in Belgium. Okay, they only had one government which was mainly supporting Sinhala speakers and was trying to establish their supremacy in Sri Lanka. From these two case studies, we get one important question, and that is why power sharing is desirable. So power sharing क्यों चाहिए कोई भी democratic country को? Okay, so power sharing is desirable in democracy of two main reasons: prudential and moral reasons. The prudential reasons stress that power sharing will bring out better outcomes, whereas the moral reason emphasizes the act of power sharing as valuable. Prudential reasons are it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups, since social conflict often leads to violence and political instability. It is a good way to ensure the stability of political order. We observe these features in Belgium model. Imposing the will of majority, the community over others may look like an attractive option in the short run, but in the long run, it undermines the unity of the nation. Also, we observe these features in Sri Lankan model. Moral reasons are power sharing is the very spirit of democracy, so we can't think a democracy without power sharing. A democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise and who have to live with its effect. People have a right to be consulted on how they are to be governed. A legitimate government is one where citizens, through participation, acquire a stake in the system. It is called a legitimate government. So, my dear children, that's the end for today's session. We will meet in our next class with new topics. Till then, bye. Take a very good care of yourself and happy learning.